All right, welcome to Theory Live. Here we are, and thank you all for tuning in. Wanted to start off with a really quick presentation on what we're all doing here today, and then we'll get into introductions and right into the branding process. So I'm going to start by sharing my screen. I have a quick introduction. So for those of you that haven't met me yet, I'm Andy Rooks. I'm the founder and CEO of Theory Marketing Partners. And here's our introduction. So what we do on a high level is we make brand marketing compelling, effective, and focused. And elevating your brand marketing is one of the greatest challenges for growing companies. And today we're going to show you how. So since 2018, we've worked with over 30 growing companies to find their focus and that focus statement. Our methodology creates remarkably consistent results across industries. So we've had some amazing clients from medical devices to booksellers, meditation, Salesforce consultants, museum tech, nonprofits, CPG, farm systems, AI artists, and more. So we've worked with the full gamut of industries, and this methodology works for every single one. We get these consistent results because our success is shared. So we collaborate with all stakeholders and practice creativity within boundaries. So we're very, very disciplined about the way that we go about it, and we make sure that everybody has a say that needs to say. And also, we're built on some of the strongest frameworks out there in business, in product design, marketing, and branding, from Google's Ventures Sprint to recent Tratt's positioning to Kenichi Omai's The Mind of the Strategist. So we've combined a lot of these methodologies into the way that we work here at Theory. So this is what an elevated brand statement looks like. Lilu builds technology to empower new moms. Your local reduces your carbon footprint with every meal. Aduri brings mindfulness home. And Sella creates durable innovation. So these don't just sound nice. I mean, they have a nice ring to it, but they contain a lot more than just being this concise statement. This is what they are. They have to fulfill our three criteria of being rational, literally saying what they do. They have to have an emotional pull to it as well, and appealing to both sides of the brain. And then it also has to be obvious. Our rule of thumb is 10 words or fewer. So if we can get it down to fewer than 10 words, we're in really good shape. And here's how it works. It summarizes the value that this company creates. It doesn't go into necessarily how they build it and all of the minutia of that. It just really says this is the value in the world that we are bringing. It starts the conversation. So this is how a company introduces themselves on a web page or an about us or in an elevator pitch. This is how the company says, here's who we are. And I think most importantly, it guides decision making. So all of the marketing that we do leading up should focus around this one statement. This is the leading North Star of all of the marketing execution. And it makes all of the marketing after that much easier. So if you have this guiding vision, this guiding statement, it's going to help with execution down the road. So we use 7 workshop exercises over 2 days to create one statement. So somebody famous said, if I had more time, I would have written a shorter letter. And so this is what we're doing. We're taking the time to write that short statement. And so here are the things that we do to build into that statement. First, we talk about our long-term vision, where the company is headed well beyond the 3-month, 6-month time horizon. Then we look at our values. What are the guiding principles that help us execute and keep us focused on what we do best and what we stand for? We talk about what, how, and why, and finding that why statement builds a really powerful piece of vocabulary for the company. We look at the competitive frame and where everybody else is talking and finding a small spot for this company to stand out and speak in a unique way. We highlight the value proposition that works both with where they sit competitively and with their core customer. And we create deep empathy with our customers with a persona exercise to make sure that we speak not just to who they are demographically, but how to speak to them and how to create deep empathy with them. All of these combine into our seventh exercise of positioning, where we take all of these elements together, all of this work, put it into a formula and condense and condense and condense until we get to one final statement that's rational, emotional, and obvious. So typically our workshops look like this, where it's a big mess and we've got sticky notes and we're all in a room and we're all smiling, we're all eating snacks and having a good time. But this is not the world we're in right now. Actually, the pandemic, they made us go digital. But we wanted to push the boundary further. We wanted to go beyond just doing this remotely. So we innovated, we followed our own rule, and we innovated based on Theory's core brand values. So the first is generosity. We wanted to share our methodology out with the world. The second is transparency. We're showing everyone how these decisions are made. And third is collaboration. We're inviting everyone to participate. So now, for the first time ever, we're going live. And this is our solution to pushing that boundary. And so here we are sharing this with all of you on YouTube. This is what is going to stay the same. Our 7 core branding principles and activities will be done over the course of these 5 days. We're going to get input from all the key stakeholders of the business, and our decision-making in this workshop will be final. What's different is that we're using Miro software to go remote. So we're using an online collaboration tool. Instead of being in the same room and holding up sticky notes, we're using that virtually. And this is the really big differentiator, is that we are also asking for input from you in the YouTube live stream comments. So there will be points in this exercise where we say, if you have an idea, now is the time to share it. And so please put your ideas, your votes, your inspiration, your comments into the YouTube comment section. And we have someone dedicated to reading those out and making sure that your questions are answered and that your input is heard. They're going to be filtering it in, and you'll start to see some of those ideas live on our virtual whiteboard. So we are absolutely thrilled to have this amazing client with us, Seed and Mill. They are, well, I'll let them introduce themselves, but we couldn't be happier and prouder to have such a great partner in Seed and Mill through this journey, and they are an amazing team. So let's get started. And the first thing we're gonna do is just do quick team introductions so that everybody can make sure we know our roles. And I'll start with the Theory team here. So as I mentioned, I'm Andy, I'm the CEO, and I'll hand it off to the next.
I'll go next. Hi, I'm Eliza Gerland. I'm the Chief Marketing Officer here at Theory, and today I'm going to be your audience representative, taking your ideas, votes, comments, and questions via our YouTube chat. And by participating in the YouTube chat, you're going to be able to contribute to building the Seed and Mill brand with us. So look for your suggestions and ideas on our Miro board in the blue sticky notes. And with that, I'm going to actually hop off video and hop into the chat to hang out with you. So Lizzie, would you like to go next?
And I'm on mute. I'm sure everyone has done that at some point in our virtual workspace world. Hi, everyone. My name is Elizabeth Cook. Many people call me Lizzie. I'm the Director of Communication Strategy here at Theory Marketing Partners. I manage public relations strategy and execution for Theory and our clients. And in this week's brand workshop, I'll be participating as I normally do with clients in these brand workshops that we do as a branding member of the Theory team. I'm super excited to be here and to be working with our fantastic client, Seed and Mill, this week. So thanks for tuning in. And now I'm going to hand it over to Tulio.
Hey everyone, I'm Tulio Espinosa. I am the Senior Marketing Strategist here at Theory, and I basically help clients achieve their marketing and strategy goals the most efficient way possible. And I'm really excited to do this today, but I will be behind the scenes during all of this, making sure all the technical stuff is going smoothly for our live stream. But you might see my name somewhere in the Amira Board. And with that, I'll hand it over to the Seed and Meal team.
Hi, everybody. My name is Rachel Simons. I am one of the 3 co-founders of Seed and Mill, and I'm also the CEO. We're very, very excited to be here today. I'm particularly excited to learn about this process. One thing that you don't know about me is that I am an ex-lawyer and an Aussie, and I've only just been in the food world for about 4 years. So I'm really learning on the job and learning how to build a brand. And Andy and Theory team, we're really grateful to be working with you on this project today and can't wait to sort of see what we come up with by the end of the week. And I'll pass over to
Hey everyone, I'm Janinka. I joined Seed and Mill a couple of weeks after they first opened. My role has been evolving over the past few years together with the Seed and Mill needs, and over the past year I've mainly been focusing on wholesale accounts as well as digital marketing such as the website, newsletters, social media and stuff like that.
Amazing. So thanks for the intros, everybody. So I'm going to go over our roles. So in this workshop, we all have particular roles. Eliza already said she's going to be the audience contact there. That's going to be her role. My role is going to be, I am the facilitator of the workshop. So you all have to take my directions, listen to what I say, and I'll run the exercises together and tell you exactly what you need to know. Lizzie is going to be our note taker. So no need to write anything down, any other notes, just focus on the task at hand. Lizzie is going to make sure that all of the discussion that we have is captured during this time. Rachel, you have a very, very important role during this, which is that you are the decider. So all of our decisions here are final and they're going into your brand book. And so it's your company at the end of the day. And so you get the say in saying, this is what's going to go into our brand book. Our process takes us through a generative exercise and then a refining exercise. And we'll have a discussion based on the result of that. But at the end of the day, it is your call. And I will call on you to say, okay, Rachel, it's time to make a decision on this particular point. You don't feel any pressure to go with the group. If you feel strongly one way, it is your company, so you get to make that decision. But hopefully by the end, and we very rarely had too much dissent there. So hopefully by the end, we'll arrive at a decision that everybody is happy with. Okay, so is everybody clear on roles?
Yep.
All right. So one last thing before we jump into our very first exercise, which is I'd love to hear a little bit of background on Seed and Mill. Tell us what you do and the brand that we're here creating together.
Great. Thanks, Andy. So Seed and Mill started 4 years ago in the very iconic Chelsea market in New York. And we were started by 3 mums who really essentially got together through a love of food and a love of travel. And we have focused particularly on seeds as our hero or core ingredient. And we make a bunch of products from sesame seeds like tahini, halva, tahini soft serve, a range of spice blends. But everything that we make is anchored really by a few core values, which is we like to be a seed-focused starting point. We like our food to be quality, so we care very much about the source of our ingredients. We like our food to be delicious. I mean, that's got to be the most important thing. You know, we want people to really enjoy what we are offering them and to find it healthful, to find it versatile, to find it experimental and creative. And I guess most importantly, our brand is also very much about community. So I'm really glad that we are here sharing this in this transparent forum today, and the collaborativeness of your process. Theory was very attractive to us. We connect really closely. We spend a lot of time talking and listening to our customers. It matters a lot to us what they think of our brand and our products. So that is we'll talk about values another time, but I really at the outset wanted to mention that. But we've grown a lot, and in 4 years, we went from really just a tiny brick and mortar business to becoming now a CPG brand. We're carried at grocery lines like Whole Foods, Fresh Direct, Union Market. I mean, we can talk about others. We're now on Amazon. So we're really trying to build our brand into a nationally accessible brand, but also always hoping to hold on to our roots, which really is that Chelsea Market location. So fingers crossed that we can reopen again. We're closed obviously at the moment, but hoping that we can see some of you in person and in real life very soon.
Yeah, and I just want to say I had a chance to try your product over the weekend, and it is incredible. I mean, we should do a tasting one of these days live for the audience. But it's the best halva I've ever had. It's truly. I'm not just saying that to flatter because we're here. It's really, really amazing. So thank you for sending some our way. It is so good. All right. Well, thank you for that background. Really, really helpful in getting us started. I'm going to share our screen, and we're going to pop right into the Amira board here. We are started. All right, so here we are. Here's our Amira board, and as you can see, we're set up. Is everybody on the team able to navigate in this Amira board here? I'll make sure everybody's online. For those of you that are tuning in, we'll take a quick tour of what we're doing over these 5 days. So day one, we're gonna go over our long-term vision for the brand. And also we're gonna take a look down here at our values. This is something that's really important that Rachel mentioned. We're gonna help decide what those key values are and turn that into a decision-making engine. Day two, we're gonna be looking at what, how, and why. This is a very important exercise here in terms of determining that core why we're here. Day three, we're going to take a look at the competition, put them onto this map, and we're also going to do a little bit of competitive analysis down here too. And then day four, we're going to be thinking about our customer, and we're going to create this persona. Also, I should mention, Seed & Mill has shared on their Instagram. If you have personal stories about Seed & Mill, halva, tahini, anything like that, please share on their Instagram. They're at Seed & Mill. And we will take those stories and help integrate them into this persona. So very, very excited to do that. That's day four. Over here at day five, this is the final statement where we take everything together and put it into this one very, very powerful statement. So that's day five. And so let's get started with our first exercise. So the way that this is going to work is we start by generating ideas. I'm going to give you a prompt here, which is think about where Seed & Mill will be long into the future. So I'm going to give you a prompt, and I'm going to set the timer for 5 minutes. During these 5 minutes, we're going to jump in and start to just pick a row here and start to come in and put your ideas down. And so we're going to take some time to do that. Once this board is full of good ideas, then we're going to have a vote on what we think are the best. And the YouTube audience can also vote in on this process here. We've reserved a row on the bottom of blue stickies. This is for our live audience. So ideas that come through there will show up on this blue row. We'll take some time to vote. And then after looking at the final vote, then we will have some discussion about what's generating the most consensus about us. So as we go through, try not to pitch too much. We'll have a time for actual discussion after the vote. And then after we have a brief discussion on what's going to go into each of these categories, we will decide. And so that's on Rachel. And then that will be our first exercise. We're going to do 2 exercises today, our long-term vision and our brand values, as I mentioned. So here is the first prompt. So we are creating a brand for the long term. And I know that we're thinking 3 months, 6 months down the road right now, trying to course correct during the pandemic and make sure everything is staying afloat. But if we're creating a brand here, we need to think really, really long term. What is that trajectory? It's going to give us guardrails for how to execute. So thinking things along the line of what does 5 years look like from now? What does 10 years look like from now? 15 and 20. So really, really long into the future, hopefully beyond your tenure with the company. What is this thing that you are growing and bringing to the world? So thinking about what do each of these milestones look like? So for example, it could be we have a product line with 50 products in it, or it could be we're active in these countries, or some of the stronger examples that I've heard are this is what culture looks like because we're in it. And this is what the world looks like because we're in it. So that's usually out in the 20 years. So the first prompt is to think about each of these categories, 5 years, 10 years, 15 and 20. And write some ideas down in your particular row. We've got some extra sticky notes of inspiration strikes. Okay, so are there any questions on this exercise, what we're going to do with this first one?
Andy, so there's person 1, person 2, person 3. This is an internal question. To make sure that we're all in the right rows, should like you be person 1, I'll be person, or should Rachel be person 1? Yanninka can be person 2.
Yeah, this is a good question. So one of the things that makes this work, and thank you for asking that, one of the things that makes this work really well is that there's no ownership over ideas. So once they're on this board, they're all of our ideas combined. So it's not like this is my idea or your idea or anything like that. For the purposes of doing this exercise, everyone can just pick a person. It looks like Rachel has picked person 1. That's great. We'll just pick a row. That's fine. We'll just pick a row and go for it. But once the idea is up there, it doesn't belong to anybody. It belongs to the group. So that's an important thing to note.
Thanks,
Also, Andy, sorry to jump in already on the process, but I quite liked the idea that these would all be a collection of anonymous ideas that we then sort of debate without knowing whose idea was who. So maybe it's easier if we just find sticky notes and just fill out the answers, so that I'd almost prefer not to know that Andy was person 2, because then I'd like to give every idea equal weight. So can we do that? Is that okay?
Absolutely.
Sounds great.
Okay, great. So let's jump in there. I'm going to set a timer for 5 minutes. There's a timer functionality here. And if we're ready, let's get started. And so for those of you watching on the YouTube channel, this is a moment for you to also think about where Seed and Mill will be in 5, 10, 15, and 20 years. If you've got ideas, feel free to put that into the YouTube chat, and we'll make sure to record the best ideas in our bottom row here. We'll have a few moments of silence where we're typing and generating. I need to contribute to this myself. Yeah, so stay tuned. I'm looking forward to hearing from the audience as well.
Okay, so I'm going to jump in quickly with a technical question. Sorry to be the first annoying person with one. So I am clicking on a sticky note and I've got like a thick pencil there rather than, I can't see my own text. Should I log out again and come back in?
So I would say click on this side. There's an arrow button, or you can just hit V on your keyboard. And that will bring you back. It will reset you to the thing. And then when you double click on a sticky note, you should have the icon to type.
Okay. Yeah, actually V. So V brings me back to where I was. That's good. Yep. Right. Thank you.
And I will warn you, 15 years is always the hardest. For those of you that are just tuning in, we're working on our long-term vision for Seed and Mill. If you have ideas, please feel free to jump in the YouTube chat and contribute. And we'd love to see them come up here as we go. All right, Rachel, were you able to jump on the sticky notes? Still having issues?
Yeah, a little bit. Sorry, I don't want to be a nuisance.
No, not at all.
Okay, so I am clicking on the sticky note. I clicked V.
Oh, hit V first, then double click on the sticky note. You should see the cursor icon there.
Okay, so I'm in a note. The sticky note has got a square box around it. Then when I want to type, oh, yep, it's working. Yay!
All right.
Sorry, I'm the
And a little
dinosaur.
extra time.
Yay, Rachel.
I'm going to add us a little extra time, okay? So I'm going to set the timer for another 3 minutes just because we were having some technical issues.
Okay, sorry.
No problem at all. This is why we're doing this. Great to see this taking shape. All right, just got over a little bit over 1.5 minutes left. Some good ideas taking shape here. Thanks to those that are inputting from the live chat as well. Loving seeing these ideas come up. So thank you for your contributions. All right, about 30 seconds left. Get your final ideas down. Okay, that's our timer. A very pleasant timer at that. A lot more pleasant than my phone timer. So that's one of the advantages of using Miro here. Okay, so we've generated a lot of great ideas. I'm just going to take a time now to read these out loud. Again, this belongs to the group now, so that nobody has ownership over these ideas. After I'm done reading, we're going to take a quick vote on all of these. So please take stock here. So let's take a look at 5 years, and I see some of the audience ideas are still coming in, which is great. So at 5 years, we have extend product lines so that we have multiple SKUs in each category. We're going to expand to Canada, leading tahini and halva brand on Amazon. We're going to build a team so that we have dedicated functions and leaders with expertise in different skill sets. We have 10 halva flavors available widely and easily across the US. World spices line for spice mixes using sesame seeds. Moving beyond halva and other sweets from the Middle East using different seeds, and a savory halva snack as well. At 10 years, we have some ideas for a product line based on other seeds other than sesame, being the #1 tahini brand in the US, 10 brick and mortar locations, 15 products, additional brick and mortar stores and key flagships, but not more than 5, available globally with e-commerce, expanded brick and mortar to Central and South America, supplying the best restaurants who use tahini. Halva as a building block for a meal substitute, international holiday flavors, and responsible for sesame seed-based spice blends, becoming a regular staple in American home cooking. At 15 years, this is way into the future, we have seed and mill cooking classes, global expansion, 30 products, a leader in the US market for tahini, halva, and tahini-related products, globally recognized brand with franchise or international brick and mortar locations, internationally recognized cooking show with tahini products on a well-known network, tahini in UNICEF food packs, substituting for peanut butter, healthy children snack line. We have at 20 years, halva is a holiday staple, an iconic and beloved brand, the go-to gold standard for seed-based products, an internationally recognized name in the food and CPG world, a store presence globally, and food and drinks using seeds. These are some amazing ideas. And I don't think any of them are incorrect. But what we need to do now is hone in on the ideas that work really well. So the first thing, so what we're going to do now is take a quick vote. So I'm going to do our voting app here. And this is going to be Vision Vote.
I'm just going to jump in for 1 second, Andy.
Oh, sure.
Say, Yaninka, you and I have our work cut out for us.
Yeah, I'm going to vote for build out the team.
Okay, no pitching, no pitching. We're going to discuss after we vote, but that's good. We'll take 3 minutes to vote. I'm setting the vote maximum at 10 here so that we can get some in from the audience. But please don't vote more than 4 times. So you get 4 sticky notes to vote on, and you can spread them across 1 on each year. Actually, I'm sorry, I made a mistake. You get 5 votes. So you get 5 votes in this exercise. You can spread them across each of the categories as you want. You can do 1 on each year. You can do all 5 on one idea that you really, really love. So feel free to vote multiple times on multiple ideas, but you get 5 in total.
Andy, I have a question. Do we have to use all of our votes?
You do not have to use all of your votes if you don't feel strongly about 5 particular ideas either. Good question. Thank you, Lizzie. So I'm going to start the voting now. We have 3 minutes, unless there are any questions. Any other questions?
And to vote, Andy, I click on the little vote icon, or do I wait for you? Will it prompt on my screen? Or I just click the vote icon?
Yeah, so in order to vote, good question, there's a menu option at the very bottom of the screen, and there's a little thumbs up icon. So if you click on that thumbs up icon, it's going to bring up the voting tool. And so then you should be able to go and vote on sticky notes.
Okay.
Hey, Andy, from the audience perspective,
Mhm.
when you go to vote, is it possible for you to zoom in on the screen a little bit? Some of the longer sticky notes are a little bit hard to read.
You bet. Thank you for adding that. We got to look out for our audience too. Rachel, Yannicka, are you set with voting?
So I have my voting block on the side. I'm just going to pick one. Do I just double click to vote on that?
I haven't started the voting yet. I'm going to start it right now, though. Okay.
Okay, cool. Sorry.
All right. No problem. Okay. So now you should see the vision vote, and you can click vote now. And for those of you in the audience, these are just my votes, not your votes. So Eliza will be voting for you.
So once I've picked my 5, Andy, I clicked done. Is that all I needed to do?
Click done, and then it'll say you have 5 votes left, but you can hit end.
Yeah, that's what I did too. Yeah.
Great. We've got another minute left on the voting for the audience to vote as well.
There are so many great options on here. It's hard to choose which one.
I know.
And we have some great thanks to the audience for actively participating. We have some really awesome contributions, so keep them coming.
Yeah, these are so good.
Yeah, I know. I regret one of my votes already.
That's okay. We have a discussion next.
Okay, good. I missed one that I really wanted to pick.
Well, you're the decision maker, Rachel, so you can make up for it.
That's it. Yannicka, you took the words out of my mouth. You have the final say, Rachel. So
If only that was true at home.
Andy, it's still a bit hard to see all of the options on the screen because of the bar on the left-hand side. So we're having a little bit of trouble from the audience.
How about that?
Could you zoom out a little bit?
There we go. Okay, so let's take a look at our final tally here. And the other exercises will not be this big for the audience's reference. This is one of the larger ones that we'll do because there are a lot of categories. Moving forward, they'll be one at a time, so it'll be easier to read. All right, let's take a look and see our results. Very excited. Okay, so I'm just going to highlight the ones with the most votes here. So we have go to land, change color.
oh, Andy, your audio, I think it's better now, but
How's this? Is this okay?
wonderful.
Great. Okay, sorry for that. Healthy children's snack line. So I'm just going to highlight these in gold. Lizzie, if you want to give me a hand in highlighting these as well.
Andy, I'm having a hard time seeing which ones have the most votes.
Okay, if you go into the voting panel, you can see results.
There we go. Thanks.
All right, just highlighting these. We have a few more votes. I'm going to do a different color for those with one vote. So Beyond Halva and Other Sweets. I'm going to mark these as green with one vote. Available widely across the USA. Have a product line based on seeds other than sesame seeds. Available globally, e-commerce. So just as a note, our greens have one vote and our golds have more than one vote. Responsible sesame. Leading tahini and halva brand on Amazon. World Spices line. Using mixes of sesame seeds. Halva is a holiday staple. And #1 tahini brand in the USA. Okay, so that's it for all of our votes. I'm going to close this down. Thank you for everybody for voting. This is amazing. So now it is time for us to discuss. As a reminder, our gold sticky notes here are the ones with more than one vote, and our green ones have one vote. So let's discuss starting with 20 years. So we've got some good votes here. We've got an iconic and beloved brand, the go-to brand gold standard for seed-based products. Sesame seed replaces peanut butter as the go-to alternative, and one vote for halva as a holiday staple. Would anybody like to talk about what they voted for in this category?
You want me to jump in, Andy?
Sure.
So I voted for the go-to, the gold standard brand for seed-based products, because I felt that that really encapsulated a broader range of product lines, and it also brought in the value and the quality that we wanted customers to know us for. And I think that really, you can connect that with iconic and beloved. I think those two go together. I absolutely adored the replacement for peanut butter. I loved that, but I think that was just a little bit too narrow, but definitely that is something we should talk about later on. That was a really good point.
Yeah. Anybody else have ideas? Janinka, what did you vote for here?
So I actually voted for the gold standard as well, and the peanut butter replacement, because it is, we can talk about it later, as Rachel mentioned, but the peanut butter discussion is something we've been hearing a lot and have been thinking about as well. Yeah, I basically completely agree with what Rachel just said.
If I'm gonna jump into, I voted for the iconic and beloved brand, because I think that from our conversations with Rachel and Janinka, the seed and mill products really have a positive association from like almost a nostalgic love and like memory flavors that build memories. And so I think that when you're talking about an iconic and beloved brand, that's one that holds a positive space in people's minds and hearts. And so I think, and I agree with Rachel that that's connected to being the go-to brand and gold standard for seed-based products. But I think it's important to note that there's this more psychological element to it, in addition to just being the go-to brand.
I think that's a really good point. I like the phrasing of iconic and beloved brand. And Lizzie, I like the way that you associated that with memories too, and creating memories. I think that's so important. And that's what an iconic brand really, really has. I kind of want to visit this idea of sesame seed replacing peanut butter. I think there's something we can do to combine these two. In saying that in 20 years, sesame seed is going to replace the peanut. This is saying that Cedar Mill is leading the charge in that and saying, hey, there's a better substitute out here and let's make a cultural change. And I kind of like that for a long-term vision. I think elevating the sesame seed and elevating seeds to that point is really, really critical. And I think that's really strong. So I'd love to see that as part of it. We can certainly combine a few options if we want into this long-term vision. But I think that's a really strong and unique one.
Agreed.
Okay, so
We have some great input from the audience here too, calling it Nutella, the new Nutella.
I'll write that down. Nutella. Very clever. Yeah. And it's certainly it is helpful and it is tasty enough to compete with Nutella. I can personally attest to that. It's so good. Okay, so has everybody had a chance to think about this? Are we ready to decide on our long-term 20-year vision?
Yep.
Okay, so what would you like our first decision to be?
Is this me?
Yeah.
All right, I'm
Rachel.
so much pressure. I'm going to go with iconic and beloved because I think that is very simple, and I think it brings in all of the values that we've already talked about, and I think all the others are really super great, but we will, I think I want to build them into more sort of operational ideas, and particularly the one around the peanut replacement. I almost want that to be brought forward from a timeline perspective. I think that needs to be earlier than 20 years. But I'll
stick
love
it 15 for now.
Yeah, I love the simplicity of just sticking iconic and beloved are very holistic umbrellas, and I love them.
That's great. Can I add a note here for memory as well?
Yep.
All right, so we have creating memories here, 20 years. Well done. That's your first of many big decisions we're going to make throughout this process. And that's how it's going to go. So thank you. All right, let's keep walking backwards now. Let's look at 15 years. And here's what we have under 15 years for some of our high vote ones. I moved over sesame seed replacing peanut. I think that's a really strong one and one that we should continue to consider. We have a few other possibilities here. So globally recognized brand with franchise or international brick and mortar locations, big expansion. And the other one has to do with the product line with a healthy children's snack line. I do want to emphasize that if there's one or two that we really like, we can combine them if they go well together. So we can always blend our ideas too. But does anybody want to talk about what they voted for here or what they'd like to see?
I would like to start, if that's okay. One of the votes was for the healthy children's snack line. I think that's an amazing idea. My daughter is turning 2 next month, and she is really into snacking on everything that we're snacking on. And I've been trying to come up with healthier snacks. I don't always have time to make everything myself. So I think this is a really, really fun one that would really hopefully do well with our customers as well. I do think 15 years might be a bit too long term. I think it's probably something we could try to implement sooner.
That's a really good point. Any other thoughts on this category?
We've been talking a bit about adding more brick and mortar locations. There's a few pros and a few cons. But yeah, maybe someone else can talk about that a bit more.
Yeah, Rachel, what do you think?
I agree wholeheartedly with Yaninka that having healthier snack lines for kids, it would be a great brand builder, revenue builder for us. Agree that we should be aiming to have that available less than 15 years. So I think it's a good idea, but let's just change the time frame on that. I liked a globally recognized brand. To me, has again just a really big ambitious goal there, whether it's through brick and mortar franchise, CPG, it doesn't really matter. We've already started a few inroads by selling into a few UK based chains, and there was some amazing data that was released last year around tahini sales in the UK that said that the tahini sales at one particular grocery chain, which is similar to Whole Foods, had gone up 700% in 1 year. 1 year, and that was tahini. So I would love for us to have a presence in global markets like Europe. South America is a good example that came up before. And it doesn't matter which sales channel it is. So I think if we could just kind of globally recognize brand, but without being as specific about how we would be selling, I think makes sense to me.
Yeah, I would love to see that globally recognized brand too. And here's where I think the seed replacing peanut is a really good place to do it, because this is saying Seed and Mill is going to be the leader in ushering in the change of seeds and elevating that, and you're going to be globally recognized for that. So it's not just a change that's happening here in the US, it's a change that's happening all over. So I think that those two go really strongly together.
Yep, agree.
Lizzie, do you have any thoughts?
Yeah, I really like all of these. I mean, I think that the healthy children snack line is a great point. Like I personally voted on that one. And thanks to the audience for throwing that on there. And I agree that the time frame on that should be can be shorter. And I think that just to echo what Rachel was saying in terms of the method, that I think the goal for being a globally recognized brand is great, and that the being like method agnostic, there's been so much, and I think Yaninka, you alluded to this, but like there are a lot of pros and cons to brick and mortar, and if we're talking about current affairs as well, I think that over the landscape of retail has changed so much over the past like 5 to 10 years. So I think the method agnostic way of reaching the goal of being a globally recognized brand allows for flexibility of changing with the landscape as it continues to evolve.
That's great. So are we ready to decide on this last category, or on this 15-year category?
Yep.
All right. What do you think? And we can change the language in here. So we're open to that.
So I'm going to go with globally recognized brand, but I really liked your word, Lizzie. I think the word agnostic, or sales channel agnostic, is a really good way of putting that. And again, we keep talking about the sesame replacing nuts. Just one quick thing on that. I think, again, brilliant point, but it's probably for me just coming up as too specific as it's an operational goal rather than a vision for the business. So that's why I kind of keep not picking that. But I do want to keep recognizing it as important. And I think also to connect this into the global marketplace, tahini comes from the Middle East, and I didn't really go into the history of the product. We can talk about that at another point if that's relevant, but it has been eaten for thousands of years all around the Middle East. And if you asked anyone who lived in Israel, Lebanon, Egypt, Turkey, Greece, they would recognize tahini as a more popular ingredient than peanut butter. Peanut butter is huge in the US, huge in Europe, but actually these products are already replacements and substitutes in other parts of the world. So what we're really doing is just extending what has already been done before us.
Oh, that's great. Well, thank you for explaining your reasoning there too, because I think that's really important to hear. Um, so this is a really good decision on 15 years. So we're going to be globally recognized brands to this global expansion, and that's going to be sales channel agnostic. Whatever 15 years in the future sales channels look like, will be there. Um, based on our discussion, I do want to bring our healthy children's snack line over into the 10-year category because I think we were saying this one might want to go sooner. Okay, so great decision. Let's talk about 10 years. And now let's start to think about what's going to bring us up to 15 and 20 here. Right, so we know that where we're going to go for being an iconic and beloved brand, we're going to be global. What does the 10-year step look like on that pathway? So now we're starting to see where the guardrails come in a little bit more. Here we have votes for having a product line other than seeds and sesame only, being the #1 brand for tahini in the US, sesame seed-based spice blends becoming a regular staple in American home cooking, a healthy children's snack line, and available globally, e-commerce and CPG. So what do we think? Does anybody want to talk about what they voted for?
Yeah, I also just want to jump in quickly and remind everyone on the team, like Yaninka and just everyone, just thought of this myself, but also for Yaninka and Rachel. If there's the voting system obviously naturally pulls certain ones up to the top, but if there's one that isn't like highlighted gold and didn't have the mass of votes that speaks to you personally, you still have the power to like choose that and make tell us why you think that is the case.
Okay, thanks for that clarification. Do you want me to jump in, Andy?
Please.
So I'm reading through the list in number 10, and a lot of them are good suggestions, but I'm going to be honest, none of them stand out to me as that one thing that really summarizes my 10-year. I think what maybe I'm allowed to do, and you can scream at me if not. I mean, I'll tell you why just quickly. Like being the #1 tahini brand, that's fine. I don't think we need to be #1 it's good to be ambitious, but if you said you're #2 or #3, I wouldn't be disappointed. I think it's a big category. It's also too specific on tahini and it doesn't bring in our other things. The available globally, we sort of have already talked about that, so I don't want to come back to that again. I'm just reading some of the others. The spice blends, again, we would love to expand our spices, but that's very specific to one product. So what I would maybe ideally like to do is, because there's a lot in 5, there's actually multiple in 5. Maybe, am I allowed to pick something in the 5-year, move that over to the 10, and then go for something else in 5?
You absolutely are.
Okay, so before I tell you what I liked in 5, Jan or anyone else, do you guys want to just talk to anything that maybe resonated strongly for you in 10?
I think what you say makes sense. I also think that some of the ideas are very more operational ideas that we can implement, but that not necessarily capture the 10-year vision or the 15-year vision as a whole. So,
yeah, I'm seeing there are kind of 2 avenues. One is kind of locations and footprint that we can do, and the other is through product expansion too. So I'm seeing some great product ideas specifically, but that's kind of where I see 10 years going. We could either look at how big do we want to be, or do we want more products necessarily?
Look, one thing that does stand out, and I want to touch on it, there's somebody that voted for have a product line based on other seeds and not just sesame only. That for me has always been a goal. We haven't managed to bring in other seeds, but I always tell everybody we're not called sesame and mill, we're called seed and mill. And I think that gives us a much wider platform to kind of be true to what our vision is, which is to harness the power of seeds. So, and there's all sorts of great things. We'll talk about seeds and why that really resonates maybe in another session. But I think maybe let's include that somewhere. So it's about product expansion, but why don't we just define it differently as expand product lines so that it includes more than sesame?
Great, let's do that. I'm going to just steal this note over here from 15.
Right.
Expand product line to include more than sesame. Okay. Is that going to be your decision for 10 years?
Yeah, I think so.
Excellent.
Unless anyone else want to kind of, offer a view on that.
I think that's right. And in the interest of time, let's go down to 5 years.
Right.
So we have a lot of great product line expansion options here. There are some really, really good ideas. Where do we see ourselves going operationally? We are knowing that in 10 years, we're going to expand our product line. In 15 years, we're going to be global. In 20 years, we're going to be iconic. What fits to start off that path? Is anything sticking out to anybody?
Ninka, I'm going to let you jump in because I know what your answer is.
Well, there's two things that I actually, I think I even voted on all three of the gold ones. I think building the team is definitely something we need to do within the next few months. It can wait 5 years, but it is true that we do need more specific roles and just more people to cover all the different areas that we want to grow in. I really like the idea of a savory snack, savory halva snack. I don't know if it would be halva though, as halva actually means sweet. But I do think we have heard a lot of customers asking for snacks without sugar or just savory tahini snacks. So I do think that would be a really fun new product to introduce. But I think I think there's still the healthy children snack line as well. I think that's not necessarily just one or the other. I think we should create an umbrella with new product development that we want to do.
Yeah, there's this extend product lines so that we have multiple SKUs in each category sticky. I think that might fit well with what you're saying.
Yeah, exactly.
Lizzie, what do you think? Oh, you're
Once
on mute.
again, I was on mute. I think a lot of these, I totally agree with Yaninka in terms of it seems like we have two lines of visions. There's the more operational side and then the more kind of like vision in its, I guess, goal oriented, not operational side. And I think that I agree with Yaninka, like in order to achieve all these things, building out the team would probably need to happen earlier than 5 years, and would probably need to be a consistent thing over time as you grow in order to scale. And I think that the extending the product lines, like the healthy children snack line, the savory snack halva, I voted on the world spices line of spice mixes using sesame seeds. But I mean, then, one of the things that you said, Rachel, that I really loved was harnessing the power of seeds in general, not just sesame. And I noticed that you have a togarashi, which is a togarashi product, which is like a Japanese seasoning, which is a personal favorite of mine. But I wonder if those also, like, to try and find the point that I'm trying to get to is to try and find the differentiation between the 5 year and the 10 year, because it sounds like both of them are leaning towards being product line expansion oriented, and just thinking about how those product line expansion goal posts are different for 5 and 10.
Yeah. Can I jump in for a sec?
Please.
I love that, Lizzie. And I think product line expansion is really important to me, but I think what matters more than any of it is the execution and the ability to do anything. It's all very well to say, well, we want to do this and that, and we want this product and that product, but none of this will ever happen until we've actually really got the right team and execution ability. So I feel pretty strongly that it's definitely not going to be at the 5-year mark, but we should be aiming from now up until, let's say, the 5-year mark to continue to build our team. And as I said at the very beginning of this session, when I introduced myself, I don't have a lot of experience in what I'm doing. I had no background in food, launching a CPG brand. None of this makes intuitive sense to me, and none of it is something that I knew. I'm learning as I go. But what's really important is to surround yourself by people who know what they're doing and to learn from others. And I mean, frankly, the only reason that we haven't expanded our team already is that we're just still a small business without really much of an operational budget. But it's a bit chicken and egg that you need to grow so that you have the revenue to hire the team, and you can't grow without the team. And we're constantly juggling that balance. But it's, to me, very personally important that we really have the right people who are going to help us execute the right strategy. Whatever that strategy may be is almost irrelevant after a certain point. So I feel very strongly around team.
All right. So does that sound like a decision, or are you ready to make a decision on 5 years?
Yeah.
Okay. And you're picking build team?
Yeah.
All right. Well done. Because without the right team in place, as you said, getting to 10 years is going to be very difficult. So we need to have the right team in place in order to expand the product line, in order to go global, in order to become an iconic and memorable brand. So really well done here. We've mapped out our future and our trajectory. So as we're doing the rest of these exercises here, let's keep this in mind. Where we're headed is to become a memory-making brand. And in order to do that, we need to build the team, we need to build the product line, and we need to expand our footprint. So really, really well done on this exercise. Thank you also to the audience for your amazing contributions. We've seen some of those come up here. Yeah, so that's it for 20-year vision. I'm going to move us right along, in the interest of time, to our final exercise for the day, which is going to be down here. We're going to think about our brand values. Now, this is something that that Rachel, you had mentioned very early on, is really, really important to you. And this is actually one of the most operationally significant exercises that we'll do today. So when you stand for everything, when you've got a lot of things that you stand for, it's hard to stand for anything. You stand for nothing, basically. So what we want to do is pick out the most important values that we have as a group, as a company, to prioritize 1, 2, and 3. And what we will use those for is a decision-making lens. So a lot of the times, values just end up being words on a page. But when we do values, we use that as a tool for evaluation. So when we create an Instagram post, when we do a logo, when we think about a website, when we think about maybe new packaging or a new product line, we're going to ask ourselves, does this embody value 1, value 2, value 3? If no, throw it out the window. And really just stick to this focus for how we're executing. Is actually how Theory as a company came up with this whole live exercise too. We looked at our values and said, hey, what do our values tell us to do in this moment? It's a decision-making tool. We also use them quantitatively. So when we evaluate any sort of creative, and we go and do a survey and do creative testing, instead of saying, do you like this? Which is a very dangerous question, by the way. Instead of asking, do you like this? We ask, on a scale of 1 to 5, how transparent does this feel? How generous does this feel? And we use those results to make sure that the audience is picking up what we're putting down. And that should be our brand values. So not only are these very important, but they're important for how we execute in the future. They become our determining factor. We've got a lot of values here. As you mentioned in our onboarding, Seed and Mill stands for a lot of different things. And so it's not to say that we won't continue to stand for all of those things in the future. We absolutely will. What we need to do is prioritize what's our number 1, 2, and 3 that we can use as a tool and as a filter. And so for this exercise, what we're going to do is kind of freestyle on these sticky notes over here and generate all the values we can think of, everything in our minds about Seed and Mill and what our values are. After we're done generating those, oh wait, don't start just yet. After we're done, after we're done generating those, we're going to group them by theme. So we're going to place them into groups by themes and label those themes. And so what we're doing by doing that is creating a very specific definition for when we say something like quality, this is what we mean. And we mean all of these words nested beneath quality. And so we're going to put these into groups. And then over here, we're going to vote again on what our favorites are. And then we're going to rank them. So same kind of decision-making process here. I'm going to set the timer for 4 minutes. And again, invite the audience based on your experience with Seed and Mill products or your experience in hearing us discuss our long-term vision. Are there any particular values that you think we should add in here too? So feel free to put those into the chat as they come up. I'm going to set the timer for 3 minutes. These are adjectives, by the way. So things like quality, things like transparent, things like data-driven. I don't think that would necessarily apply to Seed and Mill, but it's something that's come up in the past. But just generally adjectives that describe how we do it. Just one thing I'll ask that if you can double click and actually edit inside of the sticky note, it'll make it easier to move around if you can. Okay, are there any questions on this exercise?
Nope.
Okay, great. I'm gonna set the timer for 4 minutes. And usually by 4 minutes, we've got the whole thing full. So, and we will start. This is a great time for those of you that are just tuning in. I'll do a quick recap. We just decided on Seed and Mill's long-term vision, becoming an iconic and memory-creating brand. Now we are looking into their values, which will become part of their decision-making engine as they start to execute marketing. So if you have any thoughts on what those may be, please put them into our YouTube chat and you'll see them pop up here as we go. I'm going to take a few minutes to type some of my thoughts on there too. But please keep up the contribution on the chat. It's been amazing so far and it's really sparked some interesting conversation.
Sorry to jump in, Andy. So I keep trying to type in and I'm getting like, I've got the comment box, but I can't get out of the comment box.
Comment box. Interesting.
I've got like a little comment. Should I? Oh, you know what? I pressed V, magic V, done. It's all right. Good.
That's your magic button. So yeah, if you ever get lost, just hit V and that'll bring you back.
I've done it. Thank you.
It's okay if there are doubles on here too. We'll bring them over as well. if we need extra sticky notes, we've got a whole line over here on the left too. And just for the audience sake, we are generating ideas about what the brand value should be, of how we will execute our marketing. See, we've got some great contributions in here so far, and this is amazing. So please keep it up on the chat. You can tell Eliza your ideas, and she will bring the best ones over into our digital whiteboard here.
And I just want to echo that. I was like so caught in the moment of my own ideas that I was like not at all looking at the blue stickies. And then when Andy said that, I looked over to the blue stickies and I was like, oh my gosh, there are so many great ideas. So really thanks to the audience for actively participating, and keep it up.
Yeah, and there's more blue stickies where that came from. So don't worry if we filled it up. Okay, got about 10 seconds left. If you've got more ideas that are coming up, we can always add more sticky notes. So let's wrap up your final idea for here. Okay, that is time. Again, our very soothing alarm. Very nice. So the next step in this is we're going to take these notes and drag them over here into our circles, see where we can find some themes between this. So for example, we'll see bonding over here, and also family oriented, right? These are two that kind of fit between this category. If we run out of space, we can always move some around. But let's look at areas of commonality and start to group them. And feel free to think out loud as you go. I'm just starting with this bonding category.
Yeah, I hesitated. I was carrying over there, and then I was like, well, does that really go? What do you think, Andy?
I think it does. There's another carrying in there too. Let's see. There are a couple nostalgic. This is interesting. I'm going to start a new nostalgic circle. And I think there was, let's see, anybody seeing any groups? We've got an earthy down here, natural.
I had, yeah, and fair trade and coming from the best suppliers. I think that earthy, natural, I'm seeing a grouping that is
Gonna add real here.
I think that earthy and natural is coming from the audience is a little bit different than like fair trade and like the supply chain. You know, when you think about the ingredients versus like how they're actually getting from the earth too. So I would actually separate like creating a new category for truthful, fair trade, quality.
Thank you, Eliza. Thanks for pointing that out.
Oh yeah, here's global. There's one for delicious taste, and we've got a bunch of taste cues over here. So I've got indulgent.
I think authenticity goes with truthful, and I guess that kind of like authentic, fair trade. What do you think, Andy and Rachel and Yaninka? Do you think those go together, or would authentic go in a different bubble?
I think authentic also speaks to our culture, our team, who we are with each other and our customers, as well as the authenticity of our ingredients. So, I mean, maybe just replicate it twice and we can kind of talk about narrowing it down. But I would put authentic more about, I wouldn't put that in the fair trade section, because I think that speaks separately anyway about ingredient sourcing.
Yeah, where do you think that would, because we have fun, happy, energetic, and then we also have a lot of nostalgic. And authenticity and authentic came up a few times.
Yeah. Sorry, so what's the first circle where you've got bonding, family, caring, all of that? What I'm just trying to work out, are we talking about the product, the brand, the culture? I mean, it's all of the above, but I'm just trying to put that in a specific bucket.
Yeah, so right now we're just looking for commonalities between words. Do you
Okay.
think they kind of fit together by theme? And then we'll find one that kind of levels up between all of those.
Okay, so I guess put authenticity then down with earthy, natural, wholesome for now.
Okay. Yeah, we've got a bunch of authentic ones.
I do agree with you, Rachel. I think authentic is also more our tone of voice, our transparency. We're informal, personal. I think it's more, for me, it would be more about our culture than our product ingredients necessarily.
Yeah.
Let's see. Let's take another minute to wrap up. There's nutritious down here. There's healthful. This is a big bucket over here with community, collaborative, rooted in culture.
And Yininka and Rachel, would you say kid friendly goes with like, yeah, the family oriented, informal, memorable? What do you think? I have my decision about that, but
For me, sorry, go ahead, Rachel.
I guess I would have put it with happy, positive, fun, adventurous. Oh, I don't know. Sorry, Yaninka, what did you think?
I actually wanted to say I think it goes with the family-oriented community bucket, but there's a lot of overlap in those two, I think, as well. So
yeah, I agree with you. There is.
Yeah, I think the top one is fine.
Okay, I think these are good categories now. So what we're going to do next is look for a theme amongst all of these categories. Now we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So let's start over here in the top right corner now as we go. So let's wrap up our categorization and just keep moving forward. It's okay if there are some that are on their own as well. But let's take a look up here. So if I could direct your attention to the top right, we have a group here that's delicious taste, indulgent, spicy, nutty, flavorful, quality, delicious, and fresh. Is there a particular value or word that we can do to summarize all of these? It can be one from the inside of this group, or it can be something completely new. But how would we summarize this group? What is this group talking about?
Well, that's a hard one, Andy. I want to lean towards delicious because at the end of the day, if our products don't taste good, then none of the rest matters. I guess I was trying to give it a priority. I mean, I care very much that our ingredients are quality ingredients. I care that they're fresh. I care that someone's having an indulgent, flavorful experience. But, you know, if we're talking realistically and we're trying to build a consumer food brand, if it doesn't taste delicious, no one's coming back. So I think we better start there.
Just a note of nuance there. Now that we have this group, whenever we say delicious, we mean quality, fresh, flavorful, indulgent, delicious. So when we say this word delicious, we mean everything inside of this as well, the taste.
I think, sorry, I don't want to dwell on this for too long because we are getting short of time, but I do think quality has a very different meaning to me for delicious. So for example, I hope no one from Pepsi's listening, but, you know, I think Cheetos, a bag of Cheetos, they're delicious. But are they made with quality ingredients? Are they kind of fresh? And I don't know. I mean, like that to me is a very different question. And I guess I wouldn't want to be confused around, you know, we care about the source of our ingredients, but for the average consumer, something might taste delicious, even if it's not made with the most quality ingredients. Does that make sense?
Great point. So I've moved quality down to this group of nutritious, healthy, clean.
Okay.
Great. All right, so let's take a look. We've got, I think cultural and worldly might fit in with this global, although I don't know. We've got this global, cultural, worldly group here. How do we summarize that? What's a good word?
I mean, adventurous, I think, also sort of fits in there.
Adventurous.
I think global is probably the best umbrella. But what we really mean there, or what I certainly would want people to understand when they think about that word, is that our brand has a very strong connection to a lot of global cultures, religion, geography, history, you know, and significance as a food source and ingredient for centuries.
I'm going to add history here as another note. That's great.
Also, and we talked, someone's got memory somewhere else. I think memory and nostalgia may very well fit in there too.
Yeah.
I don't want to.
You've got this big group up here.
Right.
Well, why don't we keep going in order and we'll make our way. So, okay, this group down here, we've got healthy, nutritious, simple, clean, quality. What's a good word to summarize these?
I think that just based on what Rachel was saying earlier, quality really is important. And I think with something's quality, that also means that it can be full of nutritional value. It means that it's made with quality. It means it tastes high quality. And feel free to chime in on that. But I felt like that was a very important value that you talked about a lot, Rachel.
Yeah, I agree.
Excellent. So this will be the quality group. We've got some kind of islands in the middle here. Why don't we go and look at this big one now? We've got a lot going on in this group. It seems like there's a big thing, but we've got family-oriented, community, collaborative, informal, memorable, family-oriented, lighthearted, caring, transparent, friendly, more caring, kid-friendly, generational, transparent. This is a feeling, right? I think there's this. I'm getting a sense for what this is. What does this feel like to you?
You know what? I'm trying to think of the succinct word, but what this really says to me is that we're a brand. We're not a business. We are a brand of people that really connects with people. We love seeing how real people are enjoying real food with friends, with family. This is not just some sort of faceless business to us. And so I guess connection, community and connection is really what drives us. That probably brings more joy to our day than almost anything else.
Connection. That's great. And it means all of these things. We're triangulating the meaning. All right, let's talk about happy. Let's talk about fun, energetic, curious, positive, generous, adventurous, approachable. What do these mean?
Yeah, for me, what really stands out in this one is positive. I think this also relates to our culture as a brand, and especially over the past couple of months already. During the pandemic, we've been looking for ways to connect to our community. We've been trying to send out more newsletters, and every time we ask ourselves, okay, are we going to just say, oh, our tahini is back in stock, order now, or is that what people want right now, or should we just try to offer some positivity throughout this situation? But I think that's what we've been doing from ever since we started. We always try to communicate in a positive tone of voice and stay upbeat and bring some happiness and some sweetness to people's lives.
That's great. That's really good. I like the way you put that. Okay, and then we've got our last big group over here: authentic, down to earth, real, natural, wholesome, more authentic. What do we think here?
Are we allowed to just pick authentic? Because I think that's
Yep.
just too many. I think that's come up a lot.
Authentic is great. Let's see, we've got a few categories in here. Nostalgic will just be nostalgic. Truthful, fair. Do we have a word for these?
I mean, it's around sourcing. That's more the verb. But it's
Could we move them to the quality category because I think they all make up of that?
yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Great. We'll move these over here. And then lastly, we have convenient, widely available, flexible. Are these a value, or should we label this category?
What's convenient to some is not convenient to others. So I don't know about that one. Yeah, we get a lot of feedback that eating, I don't know. So that one didn't resonate.
Okay, so we have 7 categories to vote on: connection, nostalgic, delicious, global, positive, authentic, and quality. And this is what we mean when we say each of these. So I'm going to start another voting round.
Wait, so we have to pick 3 of the 6 that we've just narrowed down.
So you get 4 votes, but yes, we'll eventually narrow it down to 3.
Oh, that's tough.
I know. All right. Well, first let's vote, and then we'll discuss. So again, I'm going to leave up to 10 votes so that Eliza can represent the audience here. And thank you for sticking on with us for those that have. I'm going to start this vote on values
And
now.
Andy, we're voting on the groupings, right? So connection, nostalgic. I'm voting for 4 of these nostalgic, positive, authentic, connection.
That's right. These top ones up here.
Great.
Have you started the vote?
Started the vote.
So
I don't see it, to be honest.
neither do I.
You click on the thumb button in the bottom menu. It should open up to the values voting session.
No, for me, when I click on the thumbs up, it takes me to the results for the last voting round. Should I trash that?
Same here.
Yeah, there should be a go back button.
Yep. So I hit go back, or I hit I can hit trash. Maybe I'll do that.
Okay. Yeah.
No.
No, not okay.
I don't know. Lizzie, are you able to vote?
Yeah. So if you click on the thumb, then it should prompt you with something that says vote now.
Yeah, no, I know what it looked like from last time, but when I click on the vote, it just takes me back. A screen pops up with the results from our last session.
Yeah, I have the same.
Do we want to try from
Rachel?
Andy, do you want to scrap it and maybe start a new one?
Okay. All right, we're gonna try again. So yeah, you should look at the results. There's an arrow in the top left corner that says go back. And then you should see all of the voting sessions. I'm going to create a new one called values 2. We can try again. I'm going to put 3 minutes on the clock just for sticky notes. And let's begin. Can everyone see values 2?
Sorry.
I don't see it either.
Neither of you can see it, Rachel and Yuninka?
I can see it. I'm just refreshing the entire whiteboard. See what happens then. Now now I can. Yeah.
Great.
I think you should just refresh the page, Rachel. That worked for me.
Okay, so yep, it worked now too. Sorry, I just refreshed. That's good.
Wonderful.
Sorry.
No apology necessary. All right, so we're going to vote now.
Great. And if you're in the audience, if you're still with us, please put in your votes into the chat box, and Eliza will make sure that your vote is counted toward this poll as well. As a reminder, we're looking at the top items here. So connection, nostalgic, delicious, positive, global, authentic, and quality.
We get 4 votes, right?
4 votes.
Yeah.
All right, and thanks to our audience for bearing with us and coming a little bit late. We're just voting now on the final brand values, and we're closing in on the end of this exercise for today. Okay, has everybody voted?
Yep.
Yes.
All right,
Yep.
I'm going to end the vote early so we can see our results. And let's see what came up. All right, connection with 9 votes, followed by authentic, followed by quality, global, and positive, delicious, and nostalgic with 1 vote. So all of these got some votes, which is great to show that we are absolutely encapsulating everything that we discussed here. But I'm gonna click and drag now. Actually, why don't I create a new one for our voting results? This is connection.
And as the resident copy editor and grammar police of Theory Marketing Partners, do we want to switch it to connected, or because like I'm just noticing connection, authentic, quality.
Yeah, I'm going to take our top 4 here.
Andy, I'm curious, did these vote results include the audience voting, or is it just us?
They include the audience votes as well.
Okay, great.
Yes, the audience voted.
Thank you, Eliza.
And thank you, audience. When you hear my voice, I'm the one you're talking to in the chat.
Yes, thank you, audience. Great. So our top ones are connection, authentic, quality, and global. These had the most votes. We can view some of the other results down as well. But in terms of picking down our final 3, do we want to discuss where we'd like this to go, which direction we'd like to go in? Anybody like to advocate for a particular value that they feel strongly about?
I feel strongly about connection.
Uh-huh.
I feel very strongly about global, actually. I guess because I'm from another part of the world, Yaninka's from another part of the world, funnily enough, our employee base at Cedar Mill have had very few Americans. And I think what we're really trying to do is to allow people to travel through their stomachs and experience other cultures and other food history. So that felt really important to me.
That's great. I think connection is really important too. And the reason why is that it lines up with our 20-year vision that we just did. So if we're going to be an iconic brand that's making memories, this should be all about connection with the family, connection to a brand. I think it fits really well with what we're trying to accomplish in the long term. Lizzie, what do you think? Do you have any thoughts on these values?
Yeah, I think I agree with both of the things that Rachel said in terms of connection and global. I think that if you just look through the range of products that Cedar Mill has, again, to talk about the togarashi and to talk about the tahini, like those are 2 different products from different parts of the world. And I think it encompasses the worldliness of the Cedar Mill team. And I just love, to quote you, Rachel, allowing people to travel through their stomachs. I think that is tasting flavors of different cultures is a huge element of travel for me personally, and I think for a lot of people. And now that we're stuck at home, that is a way that we can taste things that conjure memories, and then also get to know new tastes. So I'm throwing in my vote for both connection and global.
I want to talk
And
about
I'd
positive a bit. Oh, go ahead.
I'd love to jump in from the audience perspective, because while we were voting, we had a couple of new adjectives that I threw under the global umbrella, because global not only signifies the international aspect of the company, just with the team itself and the products, but this like rooted nostalgia, and we added rooted and grounded. So we Suzanne, sorry, from our chat said, it's more rooted and grounded and rooted in global. It's important because it's not just about being international, it's about the heritage. And there were a bunch of other commenters who agreed with that comment. So I just want to throw a little weight behind the audience and say that global was really important to us there.
Oh, thanks, Eliza. And the word heritage, no one mentioned that, but that's one of my favorite words in connection with our brand. So I'm really glad somebody picked up on that.
Let's add that in. That's amazing. Fantastic. So I want to talk about positive really quick. This didn't get the most votes. It only got 3 votes, but I actually think that this is very much a reflection of the team. And we talked about how for the 5-year vision, we want to build up this team. And I think more than a lot, Seed & Mill as a company has done an amazing job in remaining positive during this time and really having a good outlook. And it just, when I talk to you here or elsewhere, I just get this, I just get this really nice sensation from both of you in terms of the way that you approach the world and your attitude. And I think that has, there's something to be said for that in the value too, in the way that you think and approach the world. So positivity for me would be a really strong one.
So it's funny that you mentioned it, Andy, because I was actually trying to decide between authentic and positive. But for me, the positivity is also part of what we stand for. So if we're authentic, that positivity will be part of our communication, tone of voice.
Yeah. So this happens a lot where we nest in and group values further. So we can do, if it's okay with the group, we can say authentic and positive. And authentic will be the head word and positive will be beneath that. Does that sound right to everybody?
That sounds like a great idea to me. From the
Great.
beginning, I was in the same boat. It came down to the final, I couldn't decide between authentic and positive.
Yeah, and also just sort of bringing this also back to heritage and history, part of the history of this product and the history of us and brands and humans is to be resilient. And I think the word resilience and positivity go well together because this product has lasted thousands of years and through all sorts of ups and downs and whatever. And just like us as humans and us as a brand, we've had our fair share of ups and downs. Every business goes through a lot of challenges, but I think if there's one overarching message that I would want our customers and our community to know about us is that we're resilient and we are always going to try to remain positive and know that, we'll survive, or, the products that certainly are going to survive.
Amazing. So I know that we're running a little bit late on time. And I think we've had a really strong discussion here on these values. Now it's time for a decision. And this decision looks a little bit different, Rachel. I'll ask you to rank 1, 2, and 3 of the values that we have determined. So what do you think your ranking would be?
All right. So 1, connection, 2, global, and 3, authentic, positive, and I'll leave quality out.
Okay, and it's not to say that we aren't quality, but these are the 3 core values. This is a great decision. Really, really well done. What this means is that when we go out to execute, now we're going to say, is there a connection there? Is it global? And is it authentic and positive? Is it true to who we are as a company? And if it's not any of those things, then we know it's not on brand. And so this will be the lens for evaluation. as you go and execute in the future. So these are three very, very important values. I'll give an example. If we need to do an Instagram post, now that we know that connection is a value, we want to show multiple people in that post. We want to show people interacting and having an emotional moment together. So it won't just be hands holding the product or doing that. You want to show people's faces. You want to show their emotions and how they're connecting with one another about the product too. So this is, again, guidance for a little bit of that creative direction too, so as you start to go. Another one is authentic and positive. If you're sending out an email, and I know you've already done this, as you're sending out an email, having a really positive tone, really authentic, and making sure that your voice is coming through in that email copy is part of how we'll know that it's effective or not. So again, these are really strong brand values, really, really well done. And I think you can start to see how they're beginning to work as a tool. So with that, I would like to, again, once more, thank our amazing audience for contributing. These are some great ideas. And as you can see, they've helped shape the way that we're arriving at these conclusions. So thanks everybody for tuning in. And we're going to wrap up today's session. For tomorrow, here, I'll stop our share for now. For tomorrow, we're going to be talking about our what, how, and why, and diving really, really deep into why we exist as a company, and again, codifying some of that language there too. So we're starting to think about that and digging really, really deep into the why. So please tune in again tomorrow and help us shape this brand. It's been amazing having these great contributions. Rachel, Yannicka, you've done an amazing job helping with these decisions. We know they're not easy. And just thank you again from the bottom of my heart for tuning in, and we'll see you all tomorrow.